Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much, Harki, for giving me such an important topic to speak upon and make my voice heard to so many people. Also, I would like to take a moment to thank each and every person who has responded on my LinkedIn, who has responded on my WhatsApp, and telling me how important the session one was. Thank you so much. This is so overwhelming. I hope I am able to continue with what I am doing in this women's growth series. And I'm so excited to do this on the eve of Women's Day because the Women Growth series happens to be a very powerful session in my life as well. So, without further ado, let me start off with the presentation that I have for you all today. Let us begin. Welcome to Women's Growth Series Session 2. Your experience is not expired. Unlocking hidden strengths and transferable skills. Recognize, reframe, and reclaim. Before we dive into the session, let us just recap what all we did in Session 1. The Session 1 was completely about fear and its feedback. The change is constant, adaptability is power. In session one, we explored the fear of being obsolete, FOBO, the term that was coined by Economic Forum. We reframed the fear not as weakness but as a signal. We defined the survival quotient, the ability to adapt and evolve. Apart from that, we also worked on few sentences which acted as your action plan. These sentences talked about your fear, talked about the feedback the fear is giving, and also one small step that you would take to be free from this fear. Last week, we reduced our fear. Today, we are going to restore our value. So, from FOBO to survival quotient to restoring our value. This is our mission for today. We move from fear to recognition because our experience is not expired, it is an unrecognized potential. Here, while I dive into the session for today, I would like to introduce myself and let you know why should you be hearing me out. I am Kalpaka Saha, your guide through this transition. I am experienced in corporate training and L&D strategies. I have mentored more than 2,500 trainees with India Can, Ambuja Cement Foundation, Magic Bus India Foundation to top it all. I'm a specialist in employability, communication, and workplace readiness. I have been recognized as the top 3 national trainer, and I have positioned myself as a growth and an impact expert in these years. If you have a look here, my foundational years began with teaching social studies and English in prestigious schools of Delhi. Later on, I transitioned myself as a soft skill and a retail specialist with various organizations like Frankfin, IIJT, and India Can, wherein I was also awarded the amongst the top 3 national trainer. After the break that I took, I transitioned into impact and entrepreneurship, wherein I got an opportunity to mentor on a large scale. I also deep dived into entrepreneurship, wherein I am the owner of growth spaces like YouTube Heart Siddhi, WhatsApp channel called Sunday Reads, which is also an insight on books and personal growth. I'm also an author. My books are available on Amazon.com. I have also been a guide on numerology, wherein my wealth DNA and numero DNA talk about your wealth skills and your numerology skills. Moving ahead, I would want you all to just read through the statement given here, which talks about your confidence and your experience. You cannot evolve confidently if you secretly believe your past experience has no value. So the struggle is not a lack of capability. The struggle is underestimating the power of what you have already lived through. You've lived through so much, yet we are not able to find potential to what we have lived through. So, for that, on this eve of Women's Day, we will be celebrating ourselves, not what we have done, but for the experiences that we have had. We will be honoring our experiences. We will be unlocking hidden strengths and transferable skills through recognizing them, through reframing them, and reclaiming our experience and confidence. So let us begin. So if you have a look at this slide here, this is not a celebration slide if you see. If you have a look at it carefully, this slide is for recognition. Recognition for what we all do, recognition for what we underestimate or undermine ourselves for. If we see, women carry invisible leadership. They manage complex daily lives. Women adapt without applause. They do not require recognition, they just do it. Women underestimate their strategic value. These values, which we do not know, we do not understand that how valuable these are. And especially, we ourselves do not acknowledge them. Coming to this, I feel this is something which we all women do. If you see here, we all see a black bowl which has been joined by some golden liqueur. This happens to be the Japanese art form of joinery, which is known as kintsugi. Kintsugi is a Japanese art form wherein they join the broken pieces of any ceramic or any pottery with a golden liqueur. The philosophy behind this golden joinery is that they believe that they should treat and repair the parts of the object rather than hiding them. Similar to what we have in our lives, we already are into a world of leadership. We are there in the laboratory of leadership every day as women. We are managing complexities. We are adapting during crisis. We are holding families, careers, and responsibilities all together. We are leading every day, throughout the day. We are dealing with resilience. We are dealing with adaptability. We are dealing with emotional intelligence. We are dealing with crisis management and strategic thinking. However, we undermine ourselves and we just say, मैं तो बस घर संभाल रही थी, मैं तो बस एक ब्रेक लिया था, मैं बस मदद कर रही थी, मैं बस फिर से शुरुआत कर रही हूँ. We undermine ourselves by using the word bus, or in English, as we say, just. The word just is a silent damage word. It's a damaging word. When we say, I just managed the home, I just took a break, I was just helping, I'm just restarting, this word just is actually self minimizing. And if we understand that if we remove the word just, we will remove self minimization. We all need to understand to recognize ourselves. We need to stop undermining and self minimizing ourselves. And by removing this word just or bus in our vocabulary, we could do that. Now, let us understand first things first that our career breaks are not capability breaks. These breaks are official break with some organization. However, our capabilities do not take a break. During pandemic, we've been managing hybrid schooling. We have been learning digital tools for schools education. We have been managing health crisis in families. We've been pivoting to side businesses. We have been adapting to different things. Adaptability is the word through all this. And trust me, if adaptability had a face, it would be of a woman during a crisis. Trust me when I say that. That career break is not a capability break. So the big cross that you see here is not about the gap that you took from your office or your work premises, because skills are the new currency. People are not wanting to hire on the gap basis, they want to hire on skill basis. So whenever you took a break, what are those skills that you worked on? What is it that you evolved with? Because companies are wanting to hire for problem solving, for emotional intelligence, for cross functional skills that they require and which are valued more than any linear experience. We talked about AI in the last session, so we all understand that AI can handle data. But can AI handle judgment? That judgment is all about human to take care of, and we definitely are good at it. So our skills is the new currency through which we can gain our new identity or reclaim our own selves. So when we talk about skills, what are those skills that we can actually talk about? And when we talk about transferable skills, what are those? So transferable skills are the abilities developed in one role that create value in another context. So when we say skills travel, titles don't. So when you were on your sabbatical or when you took a break, you were managing WhatsApp school groups or budgeting household during inflation, or you were probably handling elderly care, or maybe running home or remote learning or negotiating with the vendors. Probably that has translated into communication, coordination, crisis response, operations management, stakeholder management. These are all transferred. Your skills are transferred. Your title won't get transferred, your skill got transferred. And that is what we mean by transferable skills, wherein your home became your boardroom. So the roles that you took over at your home have translated into some major corporate skills. So I'm sure while parenting, we all have understood what conflict resolution is all about. Family budgeting has made us a pro in cost optimization. Meal planning has definitely made us understand about resource management. Community volunteering and supporting your spouse has definitely engaged our strategic alignment and networking. These are the corporate skills that you learned at your home, and your home was your boardroom. Do you know these corporates train people on these skills? They pay different people to make their employees learn these skills, these conflict resolution, cost optimization, resource management, strategic alignment. And trust me when I say that you have lived through them. You have had the experience of doing it all single handedly. So these are the things that we need to recognize about ourselves. But before we recognize ourselves, there is something in us that stops us. How do we project it? So this is something very common. Everybody does that. How do I put it as a professional skill or a corporate skill? And why are we thinking that ways? Why do we think it in a way that it cannot be framed? Because there is the confidence gap. Now, what do we mean by a confidence gap? So, let us imagine as a scenario that there is a job description, and you want to apply for a job. There is this job description which lists 10 different things. Now, when we talk about 10 different things, a woman's approach would be that she should be capable of doing all those 10 things and then she would apply. However, on the contrary, if a man goes through those 10 JDs, the job description, even if he's having those six skills, he would apply because he would think the rest four I would learn on the go. That is the difference that we are talking about in the confidence gap. The book Confidence Gap by Russ Harris really talks about the gap, and it is a well written book which talks about the social conditioning that we all have had. We've been told time and again, then think before you speak. And that causes hesitation. And we are unsure whether should I speak or not. That social conditioning comes in the way of our confidence. The constant pressure to be perfect, that perfection pressure, that we will do it once we are perfect. But we need to understand that perfection would come only through practice and participation. Until and unless we participate, we will not be able to be perfect. So we have to start with what we have today. We have to do it. And we need to get rid of this pressure called perfection. There is nothing called as perfect. We need to move ahead with it. We need to participate in order to get perfect. Plus, there is always a comparison culture. We've already spoken about it in session one. We compare ourselves on various platforms on social media, wherein we feel shallow and the other person seems too tall to actually move ahead. We lose out on our confidence because of that. Plus, obviously, there is a resume stigma that I have not been doing anything that creates a confidence gap. But the problem here is that we are not underskilled. We are actually under articulated. We do not know how to, portray this gap. We do not know how to, speak about this gap. That makes me move ahead to one of the most powerful slides that I have today here, which says that change the words, change the power. So, whenever I change my vocabulary or the way I say things, it will change my visibility and my ability, which would in turn change my confidence. So, prior, I would have said that I wasn't working. Now, if I start saying that I was leading operational responsibilities at home, that instantly ups your confidence. The words that I choose to speak about myself, that creates the difference. When I say I took a gap, I can also say that I transitioned into full time caregiving while maintaining growth. See, look at the difference in the vocabulary that is used here. Once we change the word, once we reframe our words, we can change the power. We can change the power that we are not underconfident. We have the confidence to reclaim ourselves. So, vocabulary can definitely give you visibility. Now, how do we do that? How can we make this statement, or what is that formula to make this kind of a statement? What should we do? What should be done rather? So, here is a simple formula. I call this the strength formula, the formula that gives you strength in your professional workspace. We need to talk about a situation. We also need to add up the skills that we undertook and the impact that it created. So, if we talk about the example given here, during the pandemic situation, I coordinated home learning, schedules, and managed household logistics, strengthening my time management and crisis response. So, here, if we see, the situation was a pandemic situation, and the lady here in this scenario, she has learned how to or manage her logistics and her home learning schedules, which has helped her become proficient in time management and crisis response. These are the skills that corporates are looking for. So always remember, there are the skills which are there behind your experience. We need to highlight those skills to be visible, to be confident. It is always a good idea to work on your skills and talk about your skills that you have learned in order to portray your experience. So let us understand how can we go ahead with our strength. So for that we need to understand our own strength by understanding one role that we have underestimated ourselves of, or three skills that I use daily, and one strength I never claimed. If we are able to answer these questions, we will be able to find our own strength. Because if we need to understand this strength formula, we need to understand our strength here. So, if you're able to answer these three sentences for ourselves, you can take it as a task for this particular weekend or this particular week before we head on to session 3 next week. We can work on our strength by understanding what one role I have always underestimated. Also, three skills that I use daily, every day. What are those three skills that are used in the boardroom? And one strength I never claim. This will help you actually map your experience. Now, when I say map your experience, this will help you create your own powerful articulation of your gap. So, when you say my primary role in the last 2 3 years, what have you been doing in these 2 3 years when you took a sabbatical or a break, when you are at home? What was your major role like in 2 3 years? It could be one, it could be many, depends on what situation you are in. Then you can also jot down what responsibilities I handled during this particular time. Also, what are the skills required to handle those responsibilities? What is it that I can learn? And how can I professionally articulate that skill? So, the strength formula that we understood, the situation, the skill, and the impact. So, how would you professionally articulate it? And one underestimated strength that I have. So once your experience map is ready, we will be building our future ready skills on it. Now, before I go further, want every I would want to answer any questions if there are any questions, so that we can move ahead. So if we see this, you see the infinity sign here. So this infinity sign here actually talks about growth. It is talking about something which happens every time. It is reoccurring. It is always happening around you. So if you are aware of your value and you know how to articulate your strength properly, it will give you confidence, and the confidence in your narrative will give you the survival quotient that is required for growth with recognition. And that is where I say, recognize your value, reframe your strength, and reclaim your confidence. That would build your future skills, because your future skills cannot be built if you do not respect your past experience. And your survival quotient grows with that recognition. So, before we part, this is just a teaser of what we have in store for the next session. The session 3 talks about being relevant, staying confident by building future ready skills. But before I leave, I would just want to say that your experience is not expired, it is compounded. On Women's Day, don't just celebrate achievement, celebrate endurance, adaptability, and invisible strength. because your experience is a layered wisdom. It is an adaptive intelligence. It is earned resilience. It is actually the foundation of your next chapter. So, with this, I would like to end my session here. Wish you all a very, very happy Women's Day. Please recognize your strength, reframe it, and reclaim your confidence to be the person that you want to be. So, more power to everyone, and have a great day ahead. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Kalpaka, for this session.
You're welcome.